Morning, morning. What's going on, everyone? My bad if I scared anybody, spooked anybody. So today we're going to be working on hands. We're going to start in probably like 2 minutes. I have to notify the Discord that we're going live, but whoops, my bad. Oh, but Jamie, Tiago, what's going on? Oh, I meant to cut my nails before we started because my hands are gross. All right, 1 more minute, then we'll get started. Okay. All right, everyone. So today we're just gonna be working on hands. Again, I'm going through a whole refresher right now to sharpen up a lot of the skills that I lost over the past couple of months, year. So if anyone's new here, you can hop into the Discord. I'm gonna drop a link to that right here into the chat. If you don't see it in your chat, because I think it only goes to the Twitch chat. Just go into the description and you could head in there. Oh, okay. So my favorite book, actually my favorite instructional thing in regards to hands is by Hyunjin Kim on their, how do you pronounce it, Kazone, Kazone. um it's an online course. It's a short course. That's actually my favorite instructional thing when it comes to hands, and it's, I think, the thing that helped me the most. But I actually really like these two books. The Morpho book, the Hands and Feet. All the Morpho books are really good, and they're really inexpensive, and yeah. And then Takahiro Kagami, who does Yu-Gi-Oh artwork. He was one of the artists and animators for Yu-Gi-Oh. If there's ever an episode of Yu-Gi-Oh with really, really good artwork, that's him. Anyway, I got this book of his. I can't read a goddamn word out of it, but you get the gist of it just by reading through it. So for the next few streams, we're just going to be refreshing on hands. I don't want to jump around on too many topics over the next couple weeks. We're going to hammer down on one topic at a time until I feel comfortable that I'm back to where I was in regards to understanding and rendering, and then we'll move on to the next topic, and eventually we'll go down the list of stuff that I'm not good at. And then hopefully that list will I won't suck at so much stuff. All right. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Okay, so this past weekend I was in Sacramento for SAC Anime, my first convention of the year, and it hey, Remix, what's going on? Yeah, my first convention of the year was in Sacramento this past weekend. We had a couple live streams while I was out there. Excuse me, this music is really loud. Yeah, I had my first convention in Sacramento this past weekend. We did a couple live streams while I was out there. Jory, what's up? It was really good. The convention went really well. I did really well. I left a lot of money on the show floor because I decided to test out a new price point. Um, so I don't even know where to start with this. In general, the prices for prints are like for like 11 by 14 or 11 by 17 prints are usually like 15 to like 25 bucks when you go to a convention. I was charging 30 for mine for the longest time, and people were still paying it because they saw how crazy my pieces are. So they threw down the 30 bucks, you know? So I wanted to test out a $40 price point, and nah, it was a bit too high. Like I left a lot of money on the show floor. Had I stuck with a $30 price, I probably would have made like fat stacks. But I'm happy with what I made, and it was a good learning experience. Anyway, yeah, never be afraid to push. I mean, if you could afford it, never be afraid to push your prices any chance that you get. There it is. That's the page I was looking for. I'm doing well though. I like I was telling everyone, first convention of the year is done. The next convention that I have is next week in Maryland. That's a MagFest. That show. Yeah, I'll do my best to stream from the convention, but it's a 4-day show, 24-hour vendors hall. So you know I'm going to be working like 18-hour days on them in that bitch, just because. Anyway, how was everyone's weekend? Actually, how has the new year been for everybody? We didn't. Okay, so last weekend, um, I was in Sacramento, but we still had some live streams at night, like when I got home from the convention, or when I got back to the Airbnb every night. We had some live streams. I did not stream the day I came home because I was so tired, like I was run down, like I felt like I was getting sick. So I, instead of pushing through and then maybe getting sick, I decided to just kind of take it easy that day and just do some light client work. And then the day afterwards, I just caught up on other stuff. And then yesterday, we had to go to Stanford for a medical follow-up for some stuff going on, and now we're here, and now I could stream. So that's where I've been the past like 4 days. You're sketching with cool zebras. What am I using? No, I'm using Tombow pens. Tombows are some of my favorite pens. I don't know if you could read that. I was on like a live chat. Jeez, when was this? I can't remember. I think it was during COVID, and it was in a chat with, how would you say, very good business artists. Like people were very good at like marketing, skill level wise, a little bit to be desired. I mean, they're okay, but they kind of just showed no. Anyway, the focus of the particular stream that I was on was like business, right? And okay, so then the topic came up about like I can't remember how we got there, but eventually the conversation went to, you know, how I always say, like, if you want to learn how to draw something, you need to learn how to draw like boxes and turn things into simple shapes. Like we turn the bones into hands, in the hands into simple shapes, and that's how it helps me foreshorten things. That's how I learned how to draw hands. We got to that part of the conversation and I was just like, well, I mean, I assume everyone here knows how to rotate boxes in free space. And then like almost all of them didn't know. And I was just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Not trying to be judgmental. I was just fascinated. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see that. What is everyone doing today? Any projects? You guys have client work? You have any study material that you got to go over today? Whoa, what the hell? Boy, the first Star Wars got hit. Oh, jeez. That's why kids don't go outside these days. There's like rocks and shit out there. Made it home safe, and it sounds like you avoid getting the con crud. Yeah, I'm pretty good about not getting sick at most cons. Usually for me, I don't get sick often, but when I do get sick, it's like you know what I mean? Like it's always really aggressive when I do get sick. It's not often, it's not frequent, but it's very intense when I do get sick. I was just more worn out at the convention. I was just more tired than anything because the days leading up to the con, or the weeks, I guess, I just been working like a lot, like excessive amounts of hours and not really resting. So I went into it not prepared, on my own fault. But I will have to be super rested for next week's show. 4 days. Gonna be pulling like 16, 18-hour days for 4 days at MagFest. That's gonna be crazy. Oh, yeah, a tavern. That's cool, right? Yeah, next time I'll do a little research before we decide the topic. That way I'm not going in so blind, you know? Oh no, I mean like we'll do a little research ahead of time just so we can kind of get more done on the stream than like get more done on stream beyond brainstorming. But yeah, I guess it's a fun exercise, right? To try and think of like how much, like how stout is our visual library when it comes to you know, like when we say tavern, all of us had different images in our head, right? We're just like, no, well, I see this, I see that. God damn this pen. Alright, can't use this pen anymore, it's leaking. Actually, probably just throw it away. Ow. Back. Hold on. My wife is being really fucking loud outside. Like, she knows I'm streaming. Why you gotta be so loud? They wonder why we die first. Did I see that cat? I didn't watch the whole thing. Like I've seen some clips of it, but I haven't watched the whole. The interview's like 3 hours long. Like hell no, I didn't sit through the whole thing. Yeah, I thought it was gonna be like if it was like a 40-minute interview or something, I would have left it playing in the background while I was while I was driving or something. But I saw it was like 3 hours. Like, nah, come on, you crazy. There's some good clips that came out of there. There's some there's some like lifetime meme level quotes that came out of that interview. Still get I still get copies for kids. Ask you serious questions. What stands how to draw comics the Marvel way? Oh yeah. When this kid helped you tremendously. That shot Nick Fury as part of. Yeah, that book's been. I think I have a digital copy of it. And by when I say digital copy, I mean I probably downloaded it at some point and then just never. I have like I'm very much I need a paper book. I need a physical book in front of me. The same way we've always talked about. I always use a paper planner. Like I don't have a fancy phone. I don't use the calendar on it at all. I always use physical planner. There was a period of time where I was downloading a lot of I was getting a lot of digital copies of books, and I just find myself I just can't I just don't want to sit there and look at a screen while I read. I like to have the book in front of me and like to. Hey, what's going on? I got into Kawaii Con. Finally. Haven't been to Kawaii Con since 2018 or 2019 or some shit like that. Yeah. Oh, you didn't get in? They have new management or something, right? Or was it last year they switched over to new management? Oh, they waitlisted. It's a hard tip pen. It's this one right here. One of my favorite. This is like one of my favorite sketchbook pens to work with, because it's refillable as well. Like the nib on this lasts forever. Like if you I travel with these Tombow pens, and you pop the back off it and you can refill it with India ink and it won't jam, right? You could probably make one of these last for 8 months, of everyday use, before the nib starts to really go. They waitlisted a majority of the Hawaii locals. What the fuck? Is it because they're trying to bring in outside talent? Is that what it is? Do you think? I don't know about that. I always feel like conventions, especially out there, I think in general, I think should always have a section for locals. Like they should allocate, for example, you know, I'm in California. I'm in Fresno, so it's just kind of a smaller town relative to other California cities. Um, I think every convention that they have here should allocate space on the artist alley floor for locals. That's nuts. Sorry to hear that though. That's whack. Wrinkle book. Are you saying like you had bought a digital version of it, of that book, and then you sent it to get printed in like spiral bound so you could actually have a version of it? Mm, okay. All right, hold on. Give me a second. Yo, give me 1 minute, okay? I straight up just have to tell the wife to like calm the fuck down because she's being super loud and I'm trying to do my job over here. Oh, you mean like? Oh, you're talking about like gold flakes? You're talking about? No, no one's ever requested it, so I've never had to. Um, I've used glitter on some commissions. Damn it. Yeah, I'm not really big on like I've done the glitter by request. I'm not a big fan of like adding gold reflective stuff. I'm not a fan of like holographic material and prints. I'm not a fan of like, you know, that kind of stuff. That's probably why people don't really request it from me when they commission me, is because they've seen my body work doesn't have that kind of stuff in it. So I usually don't get that kind of request because I don't make that stuff. Oh, dude, what's going on? 38? Well, congrats. Good job. Yeah, I actually got some sleep yesterday. Hey, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Capital. Yeah, I got some sleep yesterday, so I'm feeling real good. After I finish my stream here, I have some final bits of client work that I need to catch up on, and then when I do that, I'm caught up on all my commissions. I'm actually gonna close my commissions. Cause I've just been like, I'm just so buried in work, and I'm just like, I need to work on my own shit. Like I got my own projects I need to work on, and I took on so much client work at the end of last year. I'm just like drowning in it. And I'm at a point where I'm like, yeah, oh, like I almost wanted to refund some of the clients, because I'm like, yeah, you know, I just the time is more valuable to me. But you know, anyway. So you hear a lot of people dropping out of KawaiiCon because flights being expensive. Yo, those flights are hell expensive out there. So the table, hotel, and flight, I'm gonna have to do 2K to break even. Which, I mean, like, I don't have to worry about that because I know what I do at shows, but like I know there are a lot of people who don't, you know, like everyone makes a different amount, right? Especially if you're flying. You know, for me it's easy because I have prints, but a lot of artists, they have like charms or like handmade knitted things, you know, like, so not only is their income maybe like a little lower, but it's harder to transport stuff. So I don't blame anybody for being like, now I do blame them for not looking ahead of time. Like, did they not know how much it costs to fly out there? And I know that we applied some, so anyone who's not sure what we're talking about, we're talking about a convention in Hawaii called KawaiiCon, and it's probably the best show y'all have out there, right? My flight was 900, which actually is not that expensive compared to some of the prices that I've seen for other people. Yeah, and my hotel came out to like 700 something bucks. And then the table was what, 500 something. So you put all that together. Yeah, it's not only the best anime con you guys have out there, but it's like a really good anime con just like on its own. So I mean, like 2000, it sucks. That means I'm going to spend basically the whole first day like just breaking even, right? And you know, that always kind of sucks. But but anyway, like it's not a big deal for me because, and then a lot of people don't like to travel solo, and there's a lot that goes into that. You know, there's a lot of safety things. Like a lot of people who do Artist Alley, let's call it what it is, y'all, a bunch of little people, you know, like, and a lot of them are females. So it's just like, why the fuck would you want to travel anywhere but like by yourself, right? So you have to take that into account. That it's just like whatever my costs are, it's usually like double for a lot of people who do Artist Alley. So I'm just like, all right, man, you want to cancel? You should cancel. That's cool. But that just sucks, you know. Like, it's hard to get into that show, and you finally get in, then you have to turn it down. Traveling to Hawaii is always stupid expensive. Everything out there is also, yeah. I had last time I was out there, I had a McDonald's breakfast, and it was good, but that shit was hella expensive. It was like, it got to the point where we ended up just cooking because the place that we rented had a kitchen in it, and we wanted to go out and like eat the local food. And after a while, we just decided, man, we're just gonna cook our own food. That shit's so expensive. We just got ramen at the store. So you said your daughter is going to school. You said fashion, right? Hold on, let me scroll up in case I don't want to missay that. Yeah, okay, fashion. That's cool. Yeah, there was an artist who I used to follow on YouTube who like majored in fashion. And I loved her YouTube channel, but I can't fucking remember what it's called, and I don't even know if she's still doing it. But all her videos revolved around like different mock-ups and like turnarounds of just different clothing designs. It's all like female oriented clothing designs, but it was really cool because she was really good at like said, like clothing, like the way cloth draped. Not very good at kind of anything else. Like she wasn't, I mean, she was like a designer. She didn't need to be good at other subjects, so she was like excellent at her specialty. Not so much everything else, but I always thought that was really fun to watch. I just lost track of that channel. I don't know. Yeah. She was really good with folds. You're just gonna apply anywhere, especially it's during spring break where it's. Oh, is it during spring break? Well, you know what? Like, that's like the. I'm at a, because you know how I took a break from doing conventions. And when I came back, you know, I came back with like a different attitude, and like I had a lot of new pieces, and like sales has just been so great at cons now, and it's just like I'm pretty confident, like I know where my new earning range is, you know, at any kind of show. So it's given me a lot more freedom to do kind of whatever show I want, or different shows here and there. But like it's so expensive these days. Like I can't imagine an artist who's just starting and they're like, oh, I want to get into cons. And I'm just like, you better have some fucking capital to start with, because this shit is crazy. Like way back then, like, or no, way back, like when I started, that shit was, it was not like you'd find a flight for like 400, 500, maybe $600, like anywhere. Dude, I can't even fly to like Michigan for less than like $800 now. I showed your buddy who's a huge Berserk fan the art piece. Hey, I appreciate that. Yeah, that yeah, I'll be debuting the Berserk piece at Magfest. I don't expect it to do too well at Magfest because it's not its audience, right? But yeah, that's where I'll be debuting it. And then I've retired the Rick and Morty piece. You can't get that anymore. I've retired it. I think I have to take it off the online shop still, but Yeah, well, I've retired the Rick and Morty drawing, and then whenever Rick and Morty is completely done, I'm talking about 100% done, we'll do an update on it, and we'll add everybody. Oh, I mean, you can call it cross discipline, but it's more just kind of like that's just what your job requires. You know, like if you're an industrial designer, then you need to be good at like you need to be a master at perspective, versus like if you are like a fashion designer, you don't got to learn perspective for shit. Honestly, like what the fuck, like what usefulness is that going to be for you? You know, like if you're a plumber, like do you need to know how to change oil? You know what I mean? Like do you need to know how the internal combustion engine works if you're fucking like plumber, right? Probably not. You know, tables are increasing. Yeah, dude, table prices are man, they going too hard with these table prices. Yo, Skin, thanks for the follow. I appreciate that. Like in just the past like year and a half since I've been back, I'm just like blown away at these table prices. I I know we talked about it before where I was just like, and I even said it, I was like, these cons, there's so many people trying to get into Artist Alley these days that these cons could kind of just charge whatever the fuck they want and people would pay it. They're doing it. It was 350 and it was a 2-day show. Yeah, you know, like that's why my strategy has been to kind of stay away from like as many really really big shows as possible. Like I don't care about WonderCon. People always ask me about San Diego Comic-Con, SDCC, and I'm just like, nah, fuck all that, dude. You know, like I ain't gonna pay $1,000 for a fucking 6-foot table where they're in an event where there's like 800 artists, right? Versus I can pay 200 to 300 for a table at this 3-day show over in like Colorado, where the artist alley is like not even maybe 200 people, or 200 artists, and you'll make maybe more or at least the same amount, or you'll at least profit. You know what I mean? Like, so I think I've talked about it a little bit last year, where I'm like, yeah, my focus is no longer like these big conventions. Like, I want to go to the more intimate ones, where one, it's more affordable. Two, the fans are a little bit more hardcore. I find that my earnings there, both my earnings and my expenses are like the ratio is so much better. So I mean, everyone's trying to do these like a lot of artists are always trying to get into like the really big shows, and a lot of people who are running shows are trying to make their show like hella big. It's like, nah, you scale that shit back, scale it back. That's where it's all at. Badge entry was $50 for one day. You're talking about attendee had to pay $50 for a day. Follow along with the hand study. Yo, see, hey, what's going on? Yeah, go lurk, go take care of what you gotta do. Glad you're passing through. Damn. So I do have to ask this question. Are you planning to stay out there though? Like, I don't know if it's a culture thing, it's just something that maybe I don't understand, but if conventions are a thing that you're still trying to pursue after all this time, it makes more sense, especially since I can't imagine, again, I don't know what cost of living is like out there, but I can't imagine it's any more affordable than it is like anywhere, especially in like quiet places on the mainland, like a Nevada, you know, or an Idaho or something, like Lynch, what's going on? I appreciate it. We're you know, we're getting it back. We're getting the groove back, the drawing groove back. Oh, you have to move off. Good, good. I'm just in regards to like it will open up your options for conventions like so much because you're going to be able to drive to a lot of them, you know. You're probably going to have to build up your driving tolerance though, because I doubt you have like I doubt you have much driving tolerance built up living out there, but like yeah, it's going to open up a lot of good opportunities if you come out here, you know. Yeah, stick to coffee. I picked up a lot of bad habits trying to travel for these conventions, and I say while I'm not a fan of caffeine anymore because I've been pretty much caffeine sober, man, uh these long drive, yeah, it's gonna take a minute to get used to driving. Like anyway, Montana Comic-Con. Hey, you laugh, but these conventions where it's like if you go to one of these smaller conventions, so like there's a convention out in Layton, Utah. Layton is like half an hour outside of Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City itself is already just like really tight, you know, but like you go half hour outside of it and there's like nothing going on. There's a small convention out there called Anime Bonsai. The artist alley's like 30-40 artists, you know. It's like I think the attendance of that is like 4,000 or 5,000 at most. They get fucking lit at that place, dude. They go crazy at that place. They have like they have that little you know, the anime rave afterwards. You know, they have little meetings outside. They have like the event center has like a big old fireplace thing. People get crazy out there because it's the only thing that they have going on, you know. Like like an anime expo, 200,000 people plus that go there, but they're all from like California. They're all from LA. They're all desensitized to partying and shit. They're like, whatever, man. I don't give a fuck. Like, yeah, I'll go. Yeah, like, yeah, I'm gonna go pop 2 pills, and then like in an hour, I'm gonna go study for my test. I don't give a fuck. You know, like, but you go out, you know. Yeah, but no, and so those smaller shows, that's like what I was talking about earlier. Like that's kind of where I'm aiming to go now, and it's been working really well because like they're more enthusiastic. They don't take their conventions for granted, and they throw down more money. Like they'll throw it down because they know their next opportunity to go be a weeb in public is like a year away. You know what I mean? That's why like furries throw money down at their shows. Because like in certain areas, especially in California, you can go out dressed as you can go out in cosplay. You can just go to the store in cosplay and nobody's gonna even look at you. Just like whatever, I don't give a fuck, right? But like if you go out dressed in your like your persona, you know what I mean? Your whole thing, dude, somebody's gonna kill you. Like so it's that same idea. You go to an area of the US where maybe being a nerd is a little harder, and you go to those conventions and they throw down money hella hard. Disciplined, I was going from more an approach like when I was working in screen print. Okay, I see what you're saying. Spending time out on the press. Oh, y'all are moving. Y'all are thinking moving to Nevada. They have a convention out in Reno called Snafu. Really small convention, but well, traditionally it's been really good, but apparently my boy went this past year and he said it was ass because they like did last minute COVID regulations on people without telling them and without telling the attendees, and like they needed to have like proof of vaccine on them and like masks, and I think some shit like that where it's like they needed full, like old school restriction level, but they didn't tell the attendees ahead of time, so people showed up without like masks, without vaccines and stuff. They got turned away and all that shit, and I was just like, anyway. Gonna lurk and work. Oh yeah. Well, appreciate the lurk. Hopefully you can get done what you need to get done. That's for everybody. So traditionally, Snafu in Reno is good. From my friend who went this past year, he said that the thing that hurt it this year wasn't that there was no attendance. It's that they did some COVID regulations last minute, and it really, like, they didn't tell anyone ahead of time. So it was like, that was more of a management issue. If they can solve that, that show's traditionally been very good because they don't have anything out in Reno. They used to have the Sans Reno Comic Con, which is also a really small show, but I think that's gone now. The only reason I don't do Snafu anymore is because it's always the same weekend as Anime NYC. And I've been doing Anime NYC since it opened. So I like to think I'm grandfathered in. I used to be on like a first name basis with the people who used to run the Artist Alley, but I mean, I think it switched hands now, so why the break from the brush pen? Sometimes I like to just switch it up. But also like when I'm practicing more technical work, I like to use this better. Plus, like I said, my skill has been really shit lately because I haven't been practicing. I don't think I have as much control as I used to. So I'm easing into going back into the brush pen. Yeah, that's it. Honestly, that's all it is. There's no real like choice between me saying, oh well, it'll be a little easier with this pen for for a little bit. The power I would have to be open up to local cons in the mainland. Is Snafu juried? I think they're all juried now. There's very few shows that are first come first serve. Like, and I know this, that like pretty recently a con opened their applications, and it turned like it. I didn't find out it was first come first serve until afterwards, after it had opened, and it like surprised me. So I was just like, that's how few first come first serves there are. Everyone switched over to a jury, which I prefer. Like honestly, I prefer jury. What are my top tips for hands? I think the thing that helped me the most when learning how to draw hands is kind of just you could take the basic shape of the bones in the hand, right, which is this right here, right? Turn those into like a basic shape. So like I like to use cylinders, sometimes I like to use cubes. And then once you turn the bones into those shapes, and if you are good or if you have practiced rotating your shapes, then you should honestly be able to draw hands. That honestly is like, that's like all that's involved with it. Like everything else in regards to like learning how to draw them holding something, or especially having hands hold each other, that comes later. But like, so for example, like and my bad, I need to cut my nails. I'm a fucking homeless person right now. So I turned these into Kit Kat bars. Yeah, so anyway, if you could start visualizing all the digits like that, I mean, you should be able to rotate a box, right? Well, if you could rotate a box, then you could rotate the fingers. And if you could rotate the fingers, you could visualize that, then that means you could draw hands, right? That's it. If you could dodge a wrench, you could dodge a ball. That's it. I mean, I could leave them. I mean, normally it's just the pinky that's really long, but no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Not a Neanderthal. We got a straw? No, try to apply to his jury. I think that's good because there's so much studios and AI, you know, all that stuff trying to get in. And you know, the whole thing about like, and I have friends who do this, so I'm not hating. I'm just speaking my opinion about it. It's, if you're part of a quote studio, your ass needs to go into the exhibitor hall. Like, you need to be paying that big bucks to go into the exhibitor hall. Artist alley is not supposed to be for, it's like, all right, like if you, I have friends who do this, so I mean, whatever's your business. You want to get offended, then you know, it's your problem. Like if you are in a studio, right? So let's say you're in Anima Studio or whatever. That's us. We're Anima Studios, right? So it's me, Dio. I'm just, you know, I'm the person who goes to the conventions and sells shit. But the other member of our studio lives in Thailand, and they're the person who's drawing all the shit. But we're a studio though. We work together though. You know? As in, he draws the shit. I sell it. I send him what he believes is a good amount of money, you know. And then we just do that. Anyway, you know, like if that's what you want to do, that's cool. But my opinion is that shit should not be allowed in the artist alley. And I think a lot of the jury systems need to get really, like, it's good that they're already all moving to jury, but they really need to keep an eye out to stop this kind of stuff from going into the artist alley, because that needs, because artist alley is for people who want to share their work, you know, like I don't know where my life would be if I didn't get into so many artist alleys when I started. So if, you know what I mean? So oh no, my vape is dead. Too bad I only got one more over here. I found a drawer full of I think there were 6 vapes in there. Yeah. Of course, yeah. AI stuff has been bleeding into conventions all over the place, and it's bled into conventions that we have. Excuse me. Let me rephrase that. The AI stuff that has been caught. You know, I mean, let's say you're just like a halfway decent digital painter, and you generate something using AI, but then you're a good enough digital painter so that you could spend maybe like 5 hours over painting it so that you get rid of all the, the AI looking features, you know what I mean? And then you make it look a lot more, let's say anime-ish or whatever, who's gonna be able to tell? Who the fuck's gonna be able to tell? They get banished to the Shadow Realm. They'll get banned from the show, and if they're at a big show, then usually you'll get blacklisted from their whole list of events. Because like honestly, like the really big conventions, they're all kind of run by this. There's only like a handful of only like a handful of businesses. It's like, how Disney fucking owns everything, and like Coca-Cola owns every drink. Yeah, it's kind of like that, where like there's a lot of conventions, the big ones, they're all run by just one company, or a couple of companies. So, you fuck around, or you make somebody at that convention not like you, right? You're probably not gonna get into their other shows. That's why I don't think I'm ever gonna get back into New York Comic Con. I think it was 2021 or 2022 New York Comic Con. I had my artist table there, right? And like I wanted to do some live drawing, so I want some bullshit, okay? So like when you buy a table or when you buy an Artist Alley spot, you're not just buying a table, right? Not just buying a table. You're buying a table with the allotted space behind it and around it as well. Okay, so that's why you could put up the big banners behind you. That's why you see people do that, right? So it's your space. You could fucking move your table however you want. You can move it like that. Like, there's nowhere in the contract that you sign that says you can't do that. You know what I mean? But usually they don't give you enough space to like turn your table, right? So that's what keeps people from doing that. That's why everyone keeps their tables in line like this, like all the time, right? So, but for me, New York Comic Con had Artist Alley table, so here's the space that I bought, the working space. It's not a lot of space behind here, so I just pushed the table back a little bit so that I could sit up front. And do a live drawing instead of having the table up, so then all the other tables would be like right here, right? But I'm still in my space. Like I'm not, once you go out here, then it's a fire hazard, and I get that. But they didn't let me do this, and I got into an argument with the guy because I was straight up like, nah, I fucking pay for this spot. I was like, show me where it says I can't do this. I'm still in my zone, and I had everything else underneath the table. Like I didn't have anything back here. Anyway, so I got into it with him, and we raised our voices at each other, and I ain't gotten to no New York Comic Con since. I had somebody at SAC Anime this past weekend. They didn't say it to me, but they were walking by and looking at my every Pokemon, every Dragon Ball character drawing, and they were talking with their friend, and they're like, dude, that like there's no way, like that can't be AI generated, right? Like no, there's like too much detail, wouldn't be able, like, so to them they acknowledged that it wasn't AI generated. But the fact that they had to stand there for a second and like even consider it, you know what I mean? They're just normal people too. They're just normal people. You know, like you're asking about the what happens if you get caught using AI. Um, from what I've heard, is you get blacklisted. But I mean, who enforces that really? You know, and if you are in the business of AI generated imagery, you know, let's say you get banned under the name that you applied for. What's stopping you from just making another name? What's stopping you from just making a new Instagram account, paying $100 to get like 10,000 followers on there, you know, and then just spamming the Instagram with a bunch of your AI generated stuff? Like you could have a full-fledged, full running, busy looking 10, 20,000 following looking Instagram account in like a week, right? What's stopping them from just doing that again and applying for a show under a different name? Because, you know, they want to see your socials, your social media stuff when they do the when you apply jury system, right? So it's like, all right, well, let's see what their Instagram's all about. That's unreliable too, because you know what I mean? Just fucking hire to get bot followers and oh yeah, they have 500 posts, but they're not gonna check that all 500 posts were made in the past like 30 hours. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So anyway, my point is, I don't. One, I don't have a point, but no, I just I try not to think about it. You know, I just kind of do my own thing, and the universe has kind of sort itself out. Plus, as somebody who's primarily a traditional artist, you know, all these people who generate stuff with AI can get away with what they want for as long as they want. When it comes down to it, you put a big old canvas on the convention floor and you ask people to draw. There's only gonna be a handful of people who can do it. So man, you know what? They want to do that, then let them. It's whatever, you know. Like the only people who are interested in that stuff are, you know, like who are we to tell people what they should be interested in? You know, if people are fascinated by that technology, fuck them. Just let them do whatever they want to do. You know, but at the end of the day, you know, like the humans in general will always respect. Like it's been like this for all of time. At the end of the day, humans are always going to respect the ones who have worked harder. Like that's just how it is. Like if you, like I said, like the hours that you put into you're practicing your drawing and then you go out there and you do like a live painting, um the layman, the normal person, the non-artist is always going to respect that more. It's always been like that and it will always be like that. So they want to do a fucking convention, let them do it. Who gives a fuck? None of my business. I think I think my I think my opinion about AI and people who use AI generated imagery and call themselves artists, I don't call them AI artists. They're just, you know, they're Google searchers. who use a photo bashing machine. I'm not saying that in a derogatory way. That's just like literally what it is. It's like if you Googled 20 million images manually and then Photoshop them together. That's basically what it did, but did it really fast for you. I don't know. I don't really partake in the conversation because I don't see them as a threat. I think that's what it is. It's yeah, I don't really like I don't partake in the conversation, and I know that a lot of artists who are doing, you know, they're fighting the good fight and trying to get it whatever. That's because it's threatening industry jobs, and I get that. But honestly, I'm not an industry person, so that's why I don't partake in that section of the conversation. But in regards to, you know, them calling themselves art, oh, you know, an art, I don't give a fuck what you call yourself, man. Just whatever. I just don't see you as a threat, so I don't give a fuck. You do whatever you want. No, but that's, I mean, again, not in a derogatory way. That's what it is, right? That's just what it is, right? That's like Google image searching a million times. And then you take them into Photoshop and then you just kind of, you photo bash them and then use the blending tool, or not even that, you just run filters over it, right? That's what it is. No, yeah, like concept artists, like industry stuff, it's hurting them. So that I could totally see why it's such, you know, like you should be concerned in that regard. But because I'm not involved in that field, that's why I personally don't really, you know, speak on it. I don't see them as a threat. They can't see me, so it's like I don't give a fuck. Like a whole convention of AI generated users can show up, could like roll up, and I'd be like, yeah, you combine all your skills together, and I'm even in my rusty form right now, like you guys are no match. So I'm just like, I don't really give a fuck. You gonna buy something? You know what? I know you got crypto. I mean, you can send me some crypto. I know all of you got it. Like fucking, I'll take 3 ETH for this drawing right here, right now, right now. Yeah, and you see a lot of these and again I think, was it last year or like the year before that, when it was like when the conversation about AI stuff was like really 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 hot, when like that's all anyone was talking about, artist wise. You go to a lot of these videos that people were putting up discussing it, and like a lot of the people in the comment section were just so defeated. They're like, oh, I don't even want to draw anymore. I'm like, yeah, if this made you stop, you were gonna stop anyway. Like if this made you stop, there was something else that was gonna, like, if this never happened, like, you know what I mean? Like I just try to, just honestly though, it's like if the AI thing made you like want to quit, then even if it didn't happen, there's something else is gonna make you quit anyway. So I'm like, I don't know, dude. It's whatever. I just hope everybody, you know, does their best. Just go do your own thing. There's a new Netflix show called Big Eyes, and it's about an artist. How an artist lady was exploited by her husband by claiming he did it. True story. Judge had him and her sit to paint to prove things. Was she in on it? Was it just kind of like a, not like a scam, but was it like the whole studio thing I was talking about? But that's funny. All right, you got 2 choices. Like, all right, Your Honor. What do you say? All right, you got 2 choices. You can go to jail, or you can paint me a tree. Yeah, there's that too. You know, they use up space. That should, you know, go to somebody who's, you know, trying to showcase their actual drawings. I feel very fortunate that I took the time over the past years, not just here on you like here on Twitch, but prior to Twitch, we were streaming on YouTube for a little bit, and you know, I had done live drawings at events for years, and you know, we draw live here, and when we do the big digital pieces, the masterworks, the collages, we do a lot of those live, and I feel very fortunate that like we have that, what other way to say it, we got that street cred, so that nobody's looks at my, you know, my drawing of every Dragon Ball character, and like the first, naturally you look at that and you're like, the first instinct is like, oh, was that AI generated? You know, I'm very fortunate that over the years I've built up that fucking credit where people are, they see something I put out and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I know this from him. I didn't watch Wish, and apparently nobody else did. So, I mean, again, I didn't watch it, but is this supposed to be like an origin story to all the Disney stuff? Somebody told me that it's like the origin story for like the mirror on the wall. Well, I mean, like that's the thing though, right? Like if you that's where that gray area is, right? Because it's like if you as like a comic book creator, or like if you're trying to get a particular gesture right, what a lot of artists will do is like they'll go out and they'll take a picture of, like, they go downtown, like they'll take a picture at different angles so they can try and get the perspective that they want, and then they'll photo bash on top of that like pictures of themselves that they've taken, but like, oh man, I can't really get my pose right, so then they'll start taking different pictures and sectioning it off together, and then they'll kind of photo bash all that together, and then they're like, okay, well, there's my reference picture, I'm going to copy that, and then as long as, you know, I'm not tracing over it necessarily, but I'm taking that image that I photo bashed and then I copy it over, you know, and you're like, okay, well, that's technically an original drawing, right? So the argument is if I AI generate an image and it just, you know, it makes something, and then I'm using that as reference and I copy it one for one, you know, where does that fall, you know? See, I'm open-minded, I'm understanding. Of these bitches? Nah. What's the author of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure does? He travels the world and goes crazy taking pictures of himself at different locations. Then later on uses all those pictures as reference. Yeah, because he took those pictures. You can fucking do, it's your pictures, do whatever the fuck you want with them, right? Nah, you should see some of my reference pictures that I've taken of myself. Every artist has a stash of reference pictures of themselves, right? And if I'm wrong about that, then I can always speak for myself. I got a stash of some crazy pictures of me just doing poses. And you know, like when you get in, when you're trying to do a reference picture and you're using yourself, you can never just do the pose. You always end up making a face too. You know what I'm talking? Everyone, you all know what I'm talking about. Shut the fuck up. Maybe one day I'll release that on like an OnlyFans or something. Gotta wait for my following count to get bigger. We gotta preheat the pan before we cook on it. So today was a good like refresher warm up. Like I already feel better. Because it's been so long since, again, I hate saying this so often, but it's been so long since I've done some real practice work. So this feels like really, really good. Like feels very refreshing. I definitely feel like I've gotten my groove back. Even just the past hour that we've been here, you know. So the next, I promise, at the very minimum, the next 2 streams are gonna still be revolving around hands. So today was just kind of, you know, to get it situated in my head again. Tomorrow I really want to focus on hands interacting with objects and other hands. So we'll see how that goes, because that's actually really hard in general. I don't know if you've ever done that, but like, yeah. So that's what the focus of tomorrow's stream will be. It'll be hands, but like interacting with things, and that will be an actual like full live stream. You know, we started a little late today. Have you ever drawn Muppets? I've drawn Gonzo, the Muppets Christmas Carol version. Oh, he's not Gonzo in that, huh? He's so here's a link to the Discord for anybody who needs it. You could hop in there and join us. It's an art-oriented Discord. I'd appreciate it. But otherwise, we're gonna have to call it because I'm out of time. We started late. Tomorrow we're gonna start at oh, so before we head out, I'll answer this question. That the question is, do you have any tips on studying in general? Yeah, my general advice is before you, it's like anything else that you're trying to learn. Like if you're in school, you can't just like pick up an entire textbook and just try to be like, okay, this weekend, bet your ass I'm gonna learn how to do calculus. Like that's not gonna work, right? Like, so I think practicing different ways to take notes and practicing different ways to study, as in you have to find out for yourself, do you learn better reading things on a screen online, or do you learn better reading out of a book? Like for me, I just like, I'll watch videos online on how to learn stuff, but I cannot like read text on a screen. I just lose focus. That's why I always have physical books. Some people can't work with physical books. Some people need like to be in an environment where like people are talking about art. So that's where live streams come in. So before you even think about like going in and buying a book and trying to figure out what to study or whatever, figure out how you like to learn. Because I was in a program in high school, and the stuff that they taught back then, wow, guess it stuck with me, because they used to grade us on how we took notes. So we were graded on how we learned, and that's how I know what works for me. So I think a lot of artists don't know what works for them. So my first bit of general advice is go look up different ways to study before you hop in and try to actually study things. That makes sense? Super overlooked, underrated. So, all right, everybody. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it. If you have any more questions, you can find me on the Discord server. And I will catch y'all tomorrow. I'm going to try to start the stream at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow. But if it's not at 9, it will be at like 10 at the latest. So I'll ding everyone on the Discord when we do go live tomorrow. So hop in there. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you hanging out. Bye. I forgot we're supposed to raid somebody.